Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Four Trained Savages podcast, episode number 241. Today is Friday, May number 1, May 1st. The Yankees just finished up a three-game set in Texas, and previous to that, they were playing the Houston Astros. So a couple weekends, or a weekend in Houston and then into Texas. So the last two series, the Yankees have been wrapping up there. And Tyler, it's two series wins for the Yankees there, and then that's coming off the heels of their sweep in Boston from the last time that we previously spoke. Yankees are rolling, and they got the best record in the American League, best run differential too in the American League. I will say that the American League at this point, you can say that this Yankees team, I think, and it's May 1st. There's a lot of baseball to be played, but Yankees look like the best team in the American League. Offense, the starting pitching, we know that Garrett Cole's coming back. We also know that Carlos Rodon's getting back. But it's good to see this Yankees team off to a great start and now kicking things into May, because we always say you making a correct analysis, or you kind of see what they are by Memorial Day, and we're approaching that, and the Yankees are looking good. How you doing, though?
I'm doing good, Rob. The Yankees have been a very exciting team to watch. Very good April. What is it like? What's our winning percentage? It's got to be like 65% or something like that. Yanks are in a good spot. The AL feels wide open. Again, we're only 1 month of ball in, but it feels like Yanks are in a position to kind of take hold of the American League if they wish. And the funny thing is, Rob, is like a lot of reinforcements coming, a lot of Yankee drama potentially coming. I mean, they
Yeah.
plopped Elmer, who's one of the bigger Yankees, pitching prospects that Schlittler like wasn't a huge prospect, but has turned out very well. Same with Will Warren. But Elmer, like one of the bigger Yankees pitching prospects that got to make his debut. Volpe could potentially play tonight. Who knows? And then they got Cole and Rodon. In the next 3 to 4 weeks at the later end of that timeline, it feels like. So reinforcements coming. Young guys are like here. George Lombard just got moved up to AAA, and Yanks usually don't keep those guys in AAA too long. So like they got a lot of ammo if they want to pull off something big. I'm pumped. There's going to be a lot of internal Yankee drama, I feel like, with like Cabby playing well, Volpe back, and then like who's going to be out of the rotation. Like Yanks are in like a kind of an unreal spot for like where we've typically been in terms of depth and everything.
Mhm. Yeah, so they're sitting 20 and 11, 645 winning percentage. So you're right on par with that. 47 plus 47 in the run differential line. And yeah, I think we have a lot to sort of talk about, even though it's even though this team is been winning and they're top in the American League, but there are some just pieces that are going around. Whether you talk about Volpe and Cabby, that's going to be a conversation that we'll have. Also, Jason Dominguez got called up. We have to see, because he got hit in the elbow in that Texas game. So we're going to hear some news, I'd say. So
Probably soon.
while we're recording, it's about 11:45. So we're going to probably hear, maybe, I know on track to start the week, they were saying Volpe would join the team between Wednesday and Thursday, but ended up maybe that he can join them this weekend. So we're going to see, but there's a lot to talk about there and how they will treat that. Randall Grichuk got DFA'd, Luis Heel sent down, Stanton lands on the IL, and then
Yanks are acting different, man.
two
Moving
starts.
different.
Two starts. Well, we're gonna see, because I am very I think this Volpe Cabby stuff is going to be fascinating to
It's
watch.
just like usually they wouldn't just like get rid of Randall Grichuk though. They'd be like, no, I want to ride this guy.
I think their hands were sort of forced, though, a little bit with the
Could have just
with
put Stanton on the IL.
well they did
Kept
put Stanton on
Grichuk.
the well they did put Stanton on the IL, and then
But
they
you could
bring
have done that instead of Elmer. Or you could have just
yeah.
kept Luis Heel up,
I
you
think it was
know?
just Luis Heel looks not great in that start, so I think that gave him an
Yeah.
out.
But the start
Uh,
before that in Boston, he was like, good.
he I think it seemed as though that the Yankees, their line of thinking was a bit similar, I suppose, to the fan bases, that they said, okay, the underlying numbers were not where they needed to be for Luis Heel, even though he did have that good start in Boston. he lets too much base traffic, and it's
No,
too
he
far and
hasn't been good.
away, from what he was in 2024. But yeah, there's and then Garrett Cole and Rodon, and now knowing how good Max Fried and Cam Schlittler have been, if you add in those two pitchers, it's a conversation of, are they the best? I mean, even now you can make the conversation that they're the best rotation in baseball, just the way that Schlittler
Yeah.
and Max Fried has pitched, and then Will Warren as well has pitched as very well. Last couple starts for Ryan Weathers has looked good as he's now getting the dad strength after having a child, I think,
Mm-hmm.
or a couple weeks ago. So there's a lot to go through. Let's talk about just the games quickly, and then we'll get into more of the deeper conversations pertaining to Ben Rice and Aaron Judge looking like Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth together so far to start the year, and then the Volpe stuff. And also wanted to get in a little conversation about Trent Grisham. But if this is your first time joining us, make sure you subscribe, leave us a rate and review. If you're listening on YouTube, leave us a comment, and then follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. So we're on all those platforms. So, like we said, and from the previous series, Stanton lands on the IL with that low grade calf strain. So those pieces moving around, Randall Grichuk, and during the midst of this series was DFA'd, and then also Jason Dominguez was called up. So he is on this roster. So let's do this first game in Texas. This was a 4-2 win for the Yankees. Max Fried goes 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. In this one, the only pitcher that got was Camilo Doval, who is clearly still a bit of a problem, I would say. But in
Mm-hmm.
this one, Ben Rice hits a home run, Aaron Judge hits a home run, as well as Jazz Chisholm, who has gotten it going a little bit. Tyler from the
Yep.
in Boston, that pesky pole home
It's
run.
getting warm.
Now in the last two series, we're seeing him kick things into gear. We'll see to what level he is. Can he get back to the 30-30 season Jazz? We'll have to wait and see. Tim Hill has just been a stud also. All year for the Yankees. He had a nice little appearance, has a 1.42 ERA, 4 strikeouts, 0.63 whip. So Tim Hill, I think that's one of the more underrated
Staple.
staple in this bullpen, and then just underrated in the in the midst of just MLB relievers. And
Mm-hmm.
he's just so fun to watch. He's been a stud, man. You can't talk enough about
He's
how
been a
good he is.
stud just as a Yankee too. I mean, with the Yankees, he's thrown 123 innings in 3 years. He's 2.5 ERA. It's Tim Hill,
Tim freaking Hill. He
freaking
looks like
Tim
he
Hill,
he
baby.
looks like he's out of like I make the
The
joke. He looks like
Sandlot.
the Sandlot. He looks like he's a character in Red Dead Redemption, or just like
Yeah,
he's like old timey cowboy looking dude, but he
yeah.
just gets
I'm gonna
it
go
done.
out there slinging.
Yeah, he just that's what he does too. So,
Yeah.
in this one too, this in both of these first two games, I think this is also a bit of a conversation that we can have. David Bednar and the two saves that he did have in game one and game two was more of a bend but don't break start or appearance for Bednar. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if the impression that you've had, and we've known that it is kind of that vibe with Bednar, that he allows some base traffic, gets your back up against the wall just a little bit, but he has come through. I think he's second now in all of baseball for saves. He has 9 on the year, and I know there's been some scuttlebutt on Yankees Twitter, at least from what I've seen, that people are saying Bednar scares them, and that's fine. I just think it's more that that's the game of being a closer. And I do agree that the underlying numbers a little bit for Bednar have been a tad worrisome, but and people have saying, oh, they got to fix the closing situation. I don't really know. There's no answer outside of Mason Miller that is not leaving San Diego, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Just they're second in their own division. That there's no solution. There's no clear path solution beyond David Bednar, and we know that that's just the game of being a closer in baseball. It's not. It doesn't instill the most confidence in me, but it's still, we have to let this thing play out till the summer, and he's going to get got. That's what happens when you go in those appearances. If it's a 1-2 run game, and in these opportunities, he has closed the door. So it's something to monitor as Yankee fans and kind of watch, but I'm not throwing the guy under the bus at this point at all if you're second in baseball in saves. So I don't know if you had a take on just the way that Bednar has been and what you've seen from him as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the results are pretty obvious in front of you, right? Is like he struggled, but he hasn't inherently hurt you much. Um, I think David Bednar would probably tell you it wasn't his best month. Um, I'm in no way sounding an alarm. I think part of this is what he is too. Like we talked about this last year. Like, yeah, he gets runners on. He kind of gets you in a jam sometimes, and typically he squeaks out of it, which I'm okay with at this point in time. I've always loved Bednar's kind of attitude on the mound in the ninth too. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care. I'm just gonna shove this down your throat. Um, Pause, which I appreciate. But um, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely a little bit of it's a little more volatile than you'd like to see. But again, like you mentioned, Rob, that's the reality of the closing role. And then
Mhm.
also, we don't know who's available. I'd be surprised if there's going to be a closer available better than David Bednar
Mhm.
at the end of the year. But I think we have to see how this shakes out, right? Like, what does May and June look like? What we still don't know what the bullpen looks like as a whole. I think kind of all those things matter. But yeah, Bednar's a little erratic, a little scary, kind of as he is as a player, but very seasoned closer, dude. Like I'm not stressed
Yeah.
about Bednar. It's infuriating to watch at times, but you know, this is what
I'm
it is.
I'm not sounding the alarm
No.
just yet, but it is, yes, that's kind of the deal that you accept as a Yankee fan for now, and then
Hmm.
you see. I'll be honest, I don't see Tim Hill being the closer. I don't see, like, he's
No.
been a stud, but I think the formula is there, and then you can try and add other pieces, and then see how the bullpen then shakes out. But listen, I can't complain. He's got 9 saves on the year. Yes, he does make it difficult at times, but the results are the results to this point, and we're going to just have to continue to watch. Game two, Cam Schlittler on the mound, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 8 Ks, 2 walks. In this one, it was a Bellinger double to get things started. Austin Wells then in the top of the seventh with a home run. And then in the top of the ninth, Aaron Judge with a home run. And then, as we were talking about with Bednar, lets on some runners in the ninth. Jansen triples in to get McCutchen to make it a 3-1 game. Then Jung gets in a single to score Jansen, makes it 3-2, but then Bednar is able to close the door. Another stellar start from Cam Schlittler, who for the year now has a 4-1 record, a 1.51 ERA, 49 strikeouts, a .74 whip. I may save him as my savage of the series, just kind of spoiler alert. But
Is it fair
he,
to just call him like an ace now? Like
well,
not even joking.
I saw. Let me pull up the There was a graphic that I
I mean,
saw,
there's really not been many pitchers better than him since he's
and the
stepped on
crazy.
the arrived.
Yeah, there was one. What was the graphic that I saw? I sent it to some of my friends.
Hearn
For
15 innings, 2.43 ERA, not
so it
including the
was
postseason.
Cam Schlittler since he debuted, and this was a graphic that they put together, showing Paul Skeens, Schlittler, and Crochet, and just I think it was from since July 9th and going through. It not even including their postseason. For Skeens, about 77 innings pitched, a 2.56 ERA with a 31% K percentage. 84 innings pitched for Schlittler, a 2.55 ERA, 28 percent K percentage, and then Crochet 96 innings pitched, a 2.91 ERA with a 31% a 31 K percentage. And that's just that just tells you like the ilk of what Cam Schlittler is in right now.
Hmm.
And I mean, the more starts that he goes by, I'm happy that I was able to see his debut last year, because since that debut, he has been amazing. And if you're in the conversations with guys like Paul Skeens and guys like Garrett Crochet, you're on the right
Max
track.
Fried, Garrett
Max
Cole,
Fried,
know?
you're on the right track. And the crazy thing, or not so crazy, just given the amount of evidence, is, and Fried has been such a stud as well, but it's a realistic world that Cam Schlittler has the ability, and I think I said it a few episodes ago when we were recording, that maybe it is a time where a winner take all game, you want Cam Schlittler on the mound, or that he's starting a game one potentially. That's how
Yeah.
good he is, right?
I mean, dude,
It's amazing.
it's not really an argument to make that you could say he's been the best pitcher in the American League.
Hmm.
Um, I think the craziest thing about Cam Schlittler is he does not walk anyone. He's walked six batters this year. He struck out 49. In comparison, Max Fried has walked 12. He struck out 37. So like it's just when you throw
Stupid.
it's when you throw four fastballs that all do different things and you can command it. Um, just pretty insane what we've seen out of Cam Schlittler. And I think everyone kind of coming in this year just was like, hey, can you continue to do what you just did in this ridiculous postseason run? And so far, the answer's been yeah.
An overwhelming, yeah.
He's accumulated almost accumulated a 1.7 WAR on the year this year. Um, Pretty nuts, man. I'm just excited to continue to watch this kid pitch because the development's been on like more than you can really dream of. I mean, talking about an ace that came out of nowhere and like
Aura,
an ace.
aura off the charts too.
Yep.
He's a stud, and we as Yankee and I mean I mentioned it a couple episodes ago too that just the special feeling that you have as a Yankee fan is just because we've developed in this last 10 years they've been better at developing younger pitchers, but they've never really had one of those studs necessarily. The closest thing I would probably say was Sevy, and we had very high hopes for Sevy, but it didn't necessarily pan out the way we hoped it would. But it's always been going back to paying Roger Clemens or paying Garrett Cole or paying Carlos Rodon or paying Tanaka coming over from Japan. The
Hmm.
last ones is that maybe I would say that Cam Schlittler legitimately has the same. I mean, but I don't even want to go that far because it's way too early. But the one that maybe comes to mind is just like the last being Andy Pettit. But
Hmm.
I mean, Schlittler could potentially be better. The stuff that we're seeing is just
It's nuts.
it's nuts. So again, follows up another great start in game two. And then game three was Elmer Rodriguez making his first MLB debut. They sent back Luis Heel down to the minor leagues. In this debut, I watched a little bit of it because it was that midday game, so it was a little bit more difficult
Hmm.
to tune in. But he goes 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 Ks. So you could tell he was a little bit juiced up on the mound. He walked that first batter, and it wasn't the I mean, Nathan Eovaldi just owns the Yankees. Seven
For the
innings
last
pitched,
30 years, bro.
4 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. And the Yankees put out, it's not. I mean, it was J.C. Escara in the lineup as well as Ryan McMahon starting, but it wasn't. Judge was DHing in this day, so it wasn't a B lineup by any stretch, really. But Nathan Eovaldi just shut the Yankees down, and they dropped the final game in Houston, and then they dropped this game. But hey, you
Hmm.
win a series, we're gonna be happy with it, and then they're coming back to the Bronx to play a divisional opponent in the Orioles they've yet to see this year. So, good series out, good road trip, man. I mean, if you win three in a row, sweep the Sox, take 2 out of 3 in Houston, who've been struggling, and then you take 2 out of 3 against Texas. Sign
Houston's
me up.
struggling, but has like the best offense in baseball.
Yeah, I know
But is it like
Jordan, and
but is like can't do anything else.
mhm,
Kind of hilarious.
I'm not mad
Weird.
at it. I'm
I'm
not
not
mad
mad
at
either.
it.
But yeah, I literally just took this game as like the Nathan Eovaldi game. Like just doesn't matter what team he's on, who's on the Yankees, he's gonna kick the shit out of us.
No, it's crazy how
Death, taxes,
and Nathan Eovaldi
that.
destroying the Yankees. All right, let's do quickly, and then we'll talk into these other conversations. Let's do our Savages of the series. I already spoiled it. I think Cam Schlittler, you just can't talk enough about how good he's been. Following up that start in Fenway that he was a stud in, got into trouble in that a little bit with the Sox making some noise, close the door there, and then to follow it up in this Texas series. It just seems like keeps ascending. And it's not as if he's doing it. It seems like he's varying the way that he does it. He's not. I think when Chris was on last episode, we were talking about how he was striking out batters on 3 different pitches. He's showing a different
Hmm.
arsenal than he has been in just his last year. It's not just all heaters. I mean, he's got great stuff. He throws fast, but he shows a level of being a dynamic pitcher that gives the promise that we're hoping to see him deliver on. So Schlittler for me is definitely taking the Savage of the series for this week. But who would you go with?
Mm,
There's a lot of
who am I
choices.
gonna
I
go with?
I think there's two guys in mind that I think could also
I,
take it.
I mean, I could go with a hitter. I could just go back to a pitcher and do Freed as well. I mean, there's like
There's a lot
I
to choose
don't
from.
I don't really want to give it to like Aaron Judge or Ben Rice, if I'm being honest,
We got to talk about them though for sure.
just because they deserve it. Um, I'm gonna double up, Rob, and just kind of go with the other pitcher that just set the tone in the series. I'm gonna go with Max Fried. Um, Hold on, pulling up his game log here. Max Fried, Rob, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned run, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Um, Set the tone right in Texas. Kind of as soon as we got there, has been a staple in this rotation, especially with Rodon and Cole out. Um, I think there's still a little chatter around Freeze in terms of big games. Not like this was a massive game. But good to see him continuously just roll himself out there and be, ultra reliable in terms of being a top end piece of the rotation. So Max Fried.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's get into our Savage Slump Watch, and this kind of is more of a conversation.
They stink.
Of maybe an overarching conversation of some different parts of the lineup because even though, and we'll talk about Ben Rice and Aaron Judge and how good they've been because they've just been stellar. But outside of those two, they do not have any other players, including like Bellinger. And if you can also lump in Ahmed Rosario, but we look at him more as a bench piece.
Utility, yeah.
A utility guy. They don't have anybody else with an OPS above 750. I do think that will change. I think Bellinger will be a guy that could get over the 750 mark. We're hoping Jazz is going to do that. When Stanton is playing more games, he can hopefully be saying like an 800 OPS player when he gets back from the calf strain. But for me, I'm looking at, I guess, in my quote unquote crosshairs right now, and for the Yankees too, has been Trent Grisham. So for the year now, Trent Grisham has a 151 average, a 298 on base percentage, a 610 OPS, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs. And he did have, I'm going to give him respect that he did have some big home runs in the past few weeks. So he has shown an ability there for opportunity spots to come through. And then also he has been walking a good amount to start the year, but now that on base percentage has dipped a little bit below the 300 mark. And I was not a fan of I wasn't not a fan of bringing him back. I was definitely not a fan of bringing him back on that qualifying offer that maybe not, maybe so that the Yankees were just banking that maybe they could get a draft pick from it. But that's just a conspiracy theory for another day to talk about. But with Trent Grisham not being, let's say, right now Trent Grisham is performing to the back of his baseball card, is to put it plainly.
Unfortunately, yeah.
He is not performing. He's performing to what the back of his baseball card was outside of the 2025 season. And that one of my predictions was that he would be closer to that than he was closer to 2025, but I was at least hoping that Trent Grisham would be giving you at least close to 20 home runs, 50 RBIs, 60 RBIs, and he could still have that season. But now, and we'll have to see what happens with Jason Dominguez, because talking today, it could be that he maybe lands on the IL or maybe he continues to play. But if this is the level of Trent Grisham that they are getting, and I totally respect that he is a better defensive outfielder, a better center fielder than what Jason Dominguez would give you out there. But if this is the level of offense, I just can't help but think at some point, and this is me speaking as someone that is not the biggest Jason Dominguez believer at this point, but if Trent is playing to this level and say that on base percentage is below the 300 mark, there's no way that Yankee fans aren't justified in saying Jason Dominguez should be getting some run, and if Trent Grisham should take a back seat. And this is a conversation me and you had, that if this is the level that he's doing, the conversation is going to happen for sure. So and he has time to change it. We don't make evaluations at least till Memorial Day. But if this is the level of Trent, it may get a a little noisy for him, is what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah. It's just been kind of a bummer at the top of the lineup. I mean, he's like
Yeah, that too. He's your leadoff, or he would be your leadoff guy, and
he's
you
been
get
leading off all year basically. Yeah. Like he kind of walks. Like he's second on the team in walks behind Ben Rice and Judge, who are tied. But other than that, it's the only way he gets on base. 151 batting average, 298 on base, 312 slug. So you got 4 homers, something that was massive last year, Rob, that we all talked about after the postseason. Trent had 34 homers last year. Outside of that, he had 9 doubles. He's got 4 homers, 1 double, and a triple this year. So like, it's kind of like home run, walk, play good defense. Like, is that the ceiling there? Right? I don't know. I hope that, like you said, there's time to turn it around. Um, but I mean, you go through a full month of May looking like this, there's totally some
um,
legitimate discussions to be
yeah,
had.
no bueno. And you make a good point there too. Is when you said he's your leadoff hitter, so
Hmm.
it's home run or walk. And listen, we're open to home runs. We're not going to say no to guys that crank 34 home runs
I'm
like he
open to
did
walks
last
too,
year.
but you got to
And
do
we're
something else.
and yeah, so and I don't, and maybe you can disagree with me. I don't necessarily believe the defense is that good. Like it's good defense. I'm not discounting the level of
It's
defender
like
that he is out
reliable
there.
defense.
But if the offense is just meh like it is, or even arguably bad or not where it needs to be, then that leaves room for the Dominguez defenders, the Dominguez advocates, which then I said I think Jason Dominguez has some flaws, and I don't necessarily buy in the same way that some other fans may currently do online. But yeah, if Trent is not up to par or doesn't kick it into gear a little bit more, and two, like we last year when we were thinking about this lineup, it was Judge, it was Stanton, how good he was. It was also Jazz last year. Hopefully he can get it going a little bit more
Hmm.
this year, and then Ben Rice. We can't forget that in that great offense that they had last year, that was the best offense in baseball. Trent Grisham was also part of that. So if
Big
you're
part of it,
and he
yeah.
was an offer in the playoffs. So that
Hmm.
can't that and if he's playing like this, like gotta get it in a gear because that's how good that offense was. And going back to the conversation about the American League, and now it's a lesser talent. It's not as good, but we'd figure just baseball wise that teams are going to get going. They're going to go on runs over the summer, so teams are eventually going to get better. And the Yankees need to keep pace. They need to keep it going, and that means Trent Grisham has to be better. So
Yep.
that's the way I'm looking at it a little
I
bit.
mean, I agree with you, Rob. Like the defense isn't wowzer, but it's very reliable. Like you kind of know what you're getting out there. Um, I don't know, man. I feel like the Yanks are operating differently right now. I They typically like the way they're not guaranteeing Volpe a job back is that like with kind of the way they've been wording things. Jason in AAA to start the year, calling up Elmer. Um, McMahon getting sat down in the second series of the year and is kind of like now, sharing his job with Rosario a little bit. Feels like they're acting with a little more urgency. I
Mhm.
feel like there is the potential that maybe we're looking in the wrong spots a little bit in terms of like where we think can be an upgrade potentially at the deadline. Yanks have a shit ton of ammo, man, in terms of like pitchers they've developed and kind of where their farm is at, where like maybe an outfielder is a legitimate option if the Trent Grisham thing kind of keeps, you know, spiraling in the way it's spiraling.
Mhm.
Um, because that's usually like the easiest position to upgrade, right? Like you're not really
Mhm.
grabbing like a big difference maker, third baseman, say, shortstop at the deadline.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. I'm on board with you though at this
Yeah.
moment in time. I was confident Trent would have a repeat year, but if it really is just with power and walks, then I'm kind of all set on that.
Yeah. Would you say anyone else other than Trent you would lump into like in your slump watch or anything or
I mean, slump watch for me, like offensively, Offensively, no, because like Jazz is coming around. I honestly am okay with where Austin Wells is at, especially after getting a couple
Yeah,
hits yesterday, I think it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Cabby's been really good. McMahon had a pretty good series in Houston, so I'm going to lay off his ass for a minute. Goldie's been solid, but it's got to be Camilo Duvall for me, dude. If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
his last, let's see, three of his last four outings, he's allowed earned runs late in games. He's coming in with a 6.97 ERA at the moment. Um, the Camilo Duvall experiment's been underwhelming, and I'm looking to be overwhelmed in a positive light by him. Um, so it's Duvall, and for many reasons everyone's aware of, just hasn't been great.
I don't think anyone would disagree with you there.
And no,
All right, let's move on to some other of the last conversations. We want to talk a little bit about Rice and Judge, and then we'll get into the Volpe Caballero stuff. I suppose we'll start though with Judge and Rice because that's more positive coming off of the downer subjects. So I actually pulled these numbers just for how they start April, just to put into perspective how good Ben Rice and Aaron Judge have been. So comparing, and I know we don't want to look back on the past, but because it was such a good duo, and because also it was another 99 and number 22, Juan Soto and Aaron Judge through April of 2024. Soto had a 325 average, 8 home runs, 25 RBIs, a 1.019 OPS, and a 190 WRC plus. And then Judge that year in 2024, we know he won the MVP, but also keeping in mind that for April he's not that good, or it was one of his more traditional Aprils. A
hmm
207 average, 6 home runs, 18 RBIs, a 754 OPS, and a 116 WRC plus. Now, if you look at Ben Rice, and keeping in mind that Aaron Judge is actually a little better in this April of 2026, Ben Rice, a 327 average, 10 home runs, 23 RBIs, a 1.157 OPS, a 211 WRC plus, and then Aaron Judge, a 252 average, 12 home runs, 20 RBIs, a 1.002 OPS, and a 174 WRC plus. So if you're comparing what we thought of at one point with, and it's only April,
hmm
but if you're comparing like how we were thinking, oh, this is Gehrig and Ruth with Soto and Judge, Rice and Judge are doing pretty damn good too to start the year, and especially when Judge is having a literally better season or better start to the year and is already looking like an MVP. But like if Rice and Judge keep this up, it's going to be as if when it was Soto and Judge being in the AL MVP candidates. So you can't speak enough of like how good they've been as a duo, and that's why we need Grisham to pick it up, and we need Jazz to continue to pick it up
Yeah.
to complement them as how good they've been. So.
Yeah. Feels like they're carrying the lineup a little bit, but that's not, it's,
It has
it's
to
fine,
happen
right?
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to happen sometimes. I'm not going to knock them because they've been so good in carrying the lineup, but, yeah, man, I think Judge is like still not all the way there, if I'm being honest. Like you look at his, like he's had a better April than he sometimes had in the past, but like, I'm looking at his thing or his slash line, and you're looking at 381 on base. Aaron Judge is like a 450 on base type of guy, right? So his slug is really carrying him right now. Where like Ben Rice, 327 average, 443 on base, 714 slug. Like he's doing what Judge did last year, virtually, at this moment in time. And something that I love too, like Ben Rice got 8 doubles, man. I'm big on like, look, guy, show me the homers, but what else you freaking doing, dude? 10
Yeah.
homers, 8 doubles, leads the team in doubles. Um, Also leads the team in hits with 32.
Bang.
So yeah, they have been, you kind of can't say enough about them. They replaced Juan Soto with, you know, not gonna get ahead of myself, but maybe one day a better version of Juan Soto at a more premier position. Um, but yeah, Ben Rice, Aaron Judge. I mean, Yankees have had two like legitimate superstars like fully emerge this year, and it's been very fun to watch.
Both from the state of Massachusetts as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little salt in the wound there for the Red Sox fans. So yeah, you can't. They like I said that you can't knock the team at this point, but it is something of note that when those guys are eventually going to hit a bit of a down period, that the lineup needs to then jazz, and when Stanton gets back, and then also Trent Grisham, you want to support those guys and not just put the weight on their shoulders in like big games and then eventually postseason games. But Ben Rice, we knew that the expected stats and the expected numbers that we saw and the hard hit rate and everything like that, we knew Ben Rice could eventually be just a contributing ball player, but now he's been for April the straw that stirs the drink for the Yankees. And now it's where we were coming into the season. We knew he was going to be a big part of the lineup, and now it's like, okay, this is the dude that's going to be next to Aaron Judge, hopefully for the remainder of Judge's career in pinstripes, and then we'll see him turn into his own, hopefully stellar all-star and MVP vote getter. So good to see from them. Good to see from them. Let's talk. All right, let's get into the interesting convo, or the Mr. Volpe is on his way back. I don't think. Let me check Twitter real quick. As we're recording this, it's on May 1st, so it may be that Volpe gets called up. I'm going to the game tomorrow, so selfishly, I don't want to see Anthony Volpe playing shortstop tomorrow, but there's a chance that happens, Tyler. So I don't know. Is your hunch he comes up this weekend, or because they moved him to Somerset? They took him from Scranton and they put him in the Somerset just because I think of the distance. Like people were like, "Oh, he's getting downgraded," but I think it's just more so they're just shifting him over.
It's definitely just the distance. I mean, I feel like they're gonna call him up. Like it kind of felt like they were gonna do it. He's ready, right? So like that's the thing is like he can come up. I thought they were gonna call him up this series for Texas.
I did too. I think they just wanted him closer to home, and that's
I don't know, but then also like I don't know. I want Volpe in AAA for 20 days or whatever the thing is.
That's the thing.
Being honest, there's no reason to bring him up.
So that's where I feel, right? Is Volpe, we know, is just eventually probably going to come up, and he may come up this weekend against Baltimore.
But I also think they love cabbies, so
but I think just the benefit now with not even just because I think Caballero should be playing more at shortstop and just see what he can do, but even just the benefit for Anthony Volpe to spend another month down in the minors, and especially because the Yankees didn't have, maybe it's just the smarts or the guts or whatever it is to put him back down. Like a lot of other ball clubs will do with younger ball players that they never did with Volpe, is they should have left him down there to develop and get some confidence and get better. And they just didn't do that. And I think there is an opportunity, and maybe they'll call him up this weekend, but there was an opportunity to just leave him there now that Caballero is also playing well. So, and the vibes of the team are high. And then if you bring in, I don't know, could it act as a distraction that then Volpe comes in and then listen,
and then also too, like there is the reality that like the Yankees aren't going to play at this very high winning percentage clip forever.
Yeah.
So when they inevitably drop a series or two,
I'll be the first one to say
it's all gonna get put on Volpe, because it's like I'm not even trying. I'm just being a realistic Yankee fan. Like no team plays at a 650 winning percentage all year, really. No. So like at some point, probably in the next 3 or 4 series, I imagine they'll squander for a couple games, and the finger's instantly gonna go to Anthony. Because it'll align with the same time. Anthony will come up. The Yankees will start playing bad. And is it going to be Anthony's fault? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not in totality. But like the second it starts, those boos start raining in, man.
No,
there's no fit. There's no it's gone from there.
I will say, I don't know if you've been the numbers for him in the minors right now. So he's had 33 at bats, 10 hits, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a 303 average, 324 on base, 718 OPS. So
324 on base. What is that?
So
you're in the minors.
And two, I don't know if you've seen the defensive. I'm not even going to call them highlights because they're lowlights, but he has been not looking. There's been some clips of him in Scranton not looking too good defensively, so that's gonna, the boo birds are gonna come out for that. You can guarantee that. But like you said, if he's a major league ball player and we know he's ramping himself up, when I look at those numbers, I say they're fine, but it'd be better if you just get him going even more and just leave him down there for a few more weeks. And this isn't even just me not like speaking as probably not the biggest fan of Anthony Volpe, but just for the benefit of his career, and if you do see him as a piece, I think it just makes sense while the team is playing better. They're winning games. They're not dropping series. Leave him down there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then Caballero on the other flip side, 28 hits, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, a 267 average, a 313 on base, and a 713 OPS. And Tyler, we say it all the time. You don't need an all-star at every position. And if this is a production, like, and we got to see, maybe Caballero, I'm hoping that he stays above a 700 OPS guy. But if he does that, I'm signing up for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I want. I mean, Cabby has been more productive than Volpe outside of a postseason run of a couple weeks virtually. Like Cabby is what we've essentially dreamt of in Volpe, which is like not much if we're being honest. It's like, hey, be fast, 270 batting average, get on base, 315 on base percentage, slug a little bit, 400 slugging percentage, 713 OPS, 98 OPS plus. I mean, that's what we've begged out of Volpe.
And don't be a complete
Liability
at times, and
mean,
in the field or in the lineup.
Caballero has accumulated a 1.2 WAR on the year. Let's see. What did Volpe like? I don't even think Volpe did that last year.
I know he had it.
Volpe accumulated a 1.6 WAR in 153 games last year. And he's just never, he's not, he's got a lifetime 220 hitter, 283 on base. That's, 500 baseball games. So I don't want it. There's no reason for Anthony Volpe to come back and introduce himself at this moment in time.
There's really not.
There's really not like you did it with Jason. You're doing it with Jason currently. Jason's arguably done more,
And that was just circumstance, honestly, because of Stanton, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's just because he got hurt. Yeah, they let and Jason was raking in the minors.
But if you looked at and if you were talking about like I kind of sensed it that you when I read off those Volpe numbers, you're like, oh, okay, I feel like you could be doing better. But Jason was hitting like 380, and he was
which is what a major leaguer should be doing in the minors.
And he was putting pressure on it. That's why I think Anthony Volpe at this point in his career is still a minor league baseball player.
Yeah,
and
he is.
He should stay there until he proves otherwise with a bigger sample size, because otherwise I think he's just going to struggle. And I think we're on the same page. And a lot of Yankee fans, and it's not even just being disrespectful, but just for his development and what the track should have been, he should be there. He should be there. So,
yeah. And he strikes out so much, man. Yeah. Like, I don't want... You're a shortstop. Cabby's not necessarily like a contact queen or anything. Like, he strikes out too, but he not to the clip Volpe does.
The defensive miscues, though, and some of the videos that I've been seeing, I'm saying that it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't.
No, and I mean the whole thing, like we kind of put up with the offense was because he was supposed to be, the Gold Glove winning shortstop, and it's really like just never went back to that rookie season of being a Gold Glove shortstop.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I'm very interested to see, because there's got to be some announcement, in the next couple hours of like roster moves in terms of what's going on with him. But I'm interested to see what they do, because there's really not a real reason to bring him up.
Nope.
To be honest, like he can be there waiting for a potential injury.
Yeah.
Like
we'll see.
I guess they don't really have a backup shortstop on the roster, but like.
Right,
they've done it with McMahon, Rosario, like they can kind of...
They could piece it together a little bit. And, and honestly, even...
Bro, I really think there's a chance. I think Lombard's got a better chance of being the Yankees shortstop this year than Anthony Volpe, like part of me.
Yeah, they called him up. They called him up to AAA, and his numbers this year to start have been good. He's been hitting some home runs off Zach Wheeler, I think it was.
Dude, his numbers have been nuts. Like what you would expect Anthony Volpe to be doing on a rehab assignment, because he's a major league player. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm just waiting for it. Tyler, you'll be getting texts from me and probably other Yankee fan friends. It's if he does not do well and they start, and it's just bound to happen. It's just the writing's on the wall for how it's going to happen.
It's totally on the wall. I'm trying to see Lombard's number. I just like I'm interested to see how it's really I want to see how the Yankees handle it. Like, all right, yeah, Lombard in AAA or a
Yeah, I'm
double
looking at
A.
it now.
312 batting average, 400 on base, 571 slug, 971 OPS. That's what you do when you don't belong in a league. You know, you own the league.
Yeah.
In AAA, he's only played one game, but it doesn't even matter. He's only played one game,
We're
but
gonna
he played
find
one.
out. We'll find. I think they usually announce roster moves at like 2 o'clock, so they'll probably have something somewhat soon. But Yankees go to or first time they're seeing the Baltimore Orioles this year. They're going to be in here in the Bronx for the weekend. They're 15-16. They're third in the AL East. So at this point, you can't treat them like a they still got some power bats. Pete Alonso's coming back to New York. I thought it was really funny. They were talking about on the fan. I think it was this week that Yankee fans should give him a standing ovation. I was like, that would be fucking hilarious.
Just doesn't like
Just troll
doesn't
the
does
Mets.
yeah,
Oh, that'd be
or is that
so.
like a oh never mind, never mind. I was thinking something else. I was thinking of Trey Turner for a second.
Oh yeah, yeah. When they give him like the nice
Gave him
standing ovation, they were trying to
yeah.
do that with Volpe too, or they were trying to do something along
We've
those
we've
lines.
tried.
But
Lost
they play
cause.
tonight. It's on May 1st. Warren is on the mound at 7:05, and then the Saturday tomorrow, I will be going to that game. Weathers will be pitching, and then it'll go Fried on Sunday, and then oddly enough, they play a game on Monday, so it's a 4-game set, and then Schlittler will be on the mound, and then Texas comes to Yankee Stadium, so they play what is it? They play 10 games in a row, and then they go after that. They go actually no, they play. No, they play 13 games in a row. Then they get a break before they go to City Field.
Expect
Uh,
some punt lineups.
yeah, there will probably be some punt. Or expect some Anthony Volpe lineups, and then that's
Yeah.
essentially a punt
Well, we
lineup.
found a good time to get Cabby off his feet. You know, it runs a lot.
But
Well, Anthony went 0 for 5 with 4 Ks today.
good stretch of ball from the Yanks, and can't really ask for much more when they're playing this kind of ball. And
Can we tell the Rays to chill?
yeah,
Like, you're not even that good. Okay.
they always
Sorry.
just have those random years, man. They
Yeah.
always have those random years where they'll come out of
It's,
nowhere and they're doing it again. So
but like they don't need their negative run differential right now.
I
Like
think a
18,
lot of it
12.
will change though for the American League. Like teams are going to get it hot. There's always like a central team that has a really good summer, kind of when
Yeah.
Cleveland.
I mean,
turned it
I'm all in
around.
on the A's. I've been saying this. Like, I think that lineup fucks. Jeffrey Springs has been kind of nasty all year. But I'm just going to say it here, Rob. Sox and Mets, you're dead. You're dead. It's May
Mets
1st.
are
You're
Mets.
dead. You're
Mets
dead.
yeah. Oh, we didn't even touch on that. Alex Cora getting
Cora,
fired
poof,
too.
gone. Oh, not even just him. The whole staff.
It was not. It was. I will say it was not his fault. But that
No.
Breslow and the fact that Henry, it is nuts
Bro,
what they're
that if
doing.
I'm a Sox fan,
I'm not
like,
mad, but
no, if I'm a Sox fan, I'm like, I hate my team. I hate my ownership. Like, it's borderline like how I feel about the New York Jets. How we
yeah,
felt about Jim Dolan for 10 years, you
yep.
know. Um, maybe 10 was a little long, but the Sox, I mean, clearly there's just massive disconnect there. Like John Henry sell the team, man.
Yeah.
They don't like you over there. Too many
Po-
Harvard grads in that room.
Points for Hal Steinbrenner on that one for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Points for Hal. But that's it for episode 241. Really appreciate everyone for joining us. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, leave us a comment, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave us a rate and review, and then also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. That is it for episode 241. We'll catch you at 242. Peace.